Good evening, everyone. We are going to call to order the Narragansett Town Council regular meeting. Today is Monday, September 16th. It is 7 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving to the approval of minutes, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the August 19th, 2024 regular meeting?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopech. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to approve the minutes from the September 3rd, 2024 regular meeting.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopech. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have announcements, presentations. We have the town manager's update on here. Mr. Tierney.
Test. There we go. Thanks, Dan. Good evening, members of the council, my guests here this evening, and those who are watching from home. The Historical District Commission of the town, the HDC, it's a town council appointed board. They've been having some difficulty meeting quorum, and currently there are no applicants on file with the town clerk. So we're asking that any interested individuals to please contact the town clerk's office to file an application. There are 2 vacancies now, and this can be done online as well. Last week, it'll be a week tomorrow, town staff met with the Boone Street Market ownership and discussed a host of issues that were brought to the attention of the council and the police department and myself. Since that meeting, there have been a few things that have occurred. They arrested a 20-year-old male for assaulting another patron. He was in possession of alcoholic beverages. He presented a valid ID that didn't belong to him, so he was charged also with misrepresentation. Another 21-year-old female was arrested for an open container of alcoholic beverages in the parking lot. Another 21-year-old female for an open container of alcoholic beverage and littering. They received a noise complaint where the readings were under the residential limit of 55, so the complaint was not substantiated. They had a noise complaint where officers stated that it was quiet and there was no violation. And they had a third noise complaint where officers stated that there were about 25 people there and the music had been turned down and didn't warrant enforcement action at that point. I spoke with the chief today, who's excused this evening, said that his observation of the Boone Street Market is they are responsive to our conversations with them and to the officers, and they appear to take an action on the sound system as well as the noise meter readings have improved. However, the department continues to receive complaints from the neighbors and expect that will continue to be enforcement due to the popularity of the establishment. We'll continue to monitor them with bar checks and we'll document all instances in the OpenGov website when their liquor license is up for renewal or modification. It's been less than a week. We're going to give them 1 more week. I'm going to reach out to them tomorrow, and I've reached out to one of the neighbors who seems to be leading the group a little bit to speak with him and the crew probably after 1 more week. So we'll give them 2 weeks to get everything squared away, and then we'll meet with the neighbors again. As the council is aware, the first week of school, September 2nd to the 8th, there were 22 students in that first week that were arrested on that Labor Day week. That's quite a lot coming into the school year. The new ordinance was used. The new nuisance ordinance was used to make some of these charges to bring them to municipal court, where it's a $500 fine for the homeowner, and the first offense for the violators who live in the residence, it can be $500, and it could also be a community service. The incident that happened at Barnet Shores on Leonard Bodwell Road on the Friday, the 6th, the 2 individuals who were arrested, Jake Dignam, age 20, and Cody Calkins, age 21, one from Florida, one from New York, that were charged with multiple offenses, including assaults, disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, obstruction. They will be arraigned tomorrow morning in Washington County Court. It's an understatement. I have over 30 years of law enforcement experience, not counting my public safety position here over the last 5 years. And I'm going to show a video to the public to let you see what these men and women put up with on a regular basis. There's no excuse for it. It shouldn't be tolerated by the residents. It should certainly not be tolerated by our police officers. And we'll do everything we can to try to mitigate these matters and to bring some people into control in this community. Dan, could you cue this up, please? It's a little disturbing. It's 2 minutes long. First 30 seconds is without audio because they're having a discussion unrelated to this.
Recording.
Keep it down, guys. Lower the voices. We don't need to yell.
I got it.
If we're waiting for rides, let's go up the street. You got ID on you? No? How old are you? Are you? Really? With no ID on you?
I don't have it on.
Come here.
Nah, why are you trying to bring it up?
No. I'll go up the street. I
Come here.
promise.
Yeah. No, you're gonna. Let me see that.
I don't have it on me.
Yo, stop talking with the fucking talk to me. So stop. I'm not on you, bro. Wait, you get over here now.
What to do with this?
I'm not doing. I have him.
Put your hands behind your back now.
Yo, he's fine. I'm fine. He's fine. You're arresting me for protecting the girl.
Put your hands behind your back now. Sure what? Put your hands behind your back. I'm not shooting, bro. Some more cars. Back up. Some more cars.
I think we get the point here. That's our neighborhoods now. Let's not let it happen.
Thank you.
You'll see a lot of green and pavement in those videos because the officer was knocked to the ground. And that's where the camera was pointing at times.
Thank you for that update.
Mr. Tierney, is it true that one of the individuals tried to disarm the officer?
There is some contact with, I don't want to air this in public as it's in the court right now. The charges will be discussed more fully tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for that report. Next, moving to consent agenda. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Oops. Sorry, I did skip that. Okay, so next we'll go to open forum, public comment. The comments of citizens addressing the council are neither adopted nor endorsed by the body, but heard as requested. Please note that public comment will not be taken on matters involving open litigation. And the rules are, please sign in to speak. There's a sign-in sheet at the back of the chambers. Please state your name and address when you come up to the podium, and speak only on topics not on the meeting agenda. And there is a 3-minute time limit per speaker, subject matter, and please be orderly and respectful. Mr. Tierney? Oh, thanks.
Hello, Town Council. My name is Johanna Schiffer. I live at 176 Boone Street. Been there almost 28 years. I did speak a couple of weeks ago about the noise, the havoc, the pretty much destruction of our way of life on Boone Street. Boone Street is not the same as it was. It's actually turned into a nightmare for most of us. That when you come and you check the noise decibels, whether they're below the limit or not, we are greatly affected by the noise. There are car alarms going off, there are cars speeding, there are car stereos going off. Last Thursday night, I called to complain after midnight. I couldn't sleep at all. There had to be 100 people in the street. Later on, I found out this was the worst night yet. This is when all the college students came back. And I can't believe that this concept was presented as not being a college haven. It's a college dream. And I love college students. I have college students in my house. I know what it's like for them, but this is also a neighborhood full of people that work really hard to keep this community beautiful, that volunteer. I mean, it was at capacity Thursday night and over 100 people out in the street waiting. And I don't know if you've ever been to Mardi Gras or the French Quarter, but Boone Street has now become Bourbon Street. Loud shouting and screaming and yelling and garbage and cars speeding. It's absolutely a nightmare. I could not sleep. I hated to have to call the police, but I had to call them. I really don't know what else to say, but it is so different. It has probably lowered our property values. That's not even the main thing. The main thing is our way of life it's just destroyed. There's a nightclub in the middle of our street, a nightclub that's open till 1 a.m. So if I can understand the owners can control what happens in their nightclub, but they can't control what happens a couple of houses down, this way or that way, or up the street or behind the street. And it's an absolute nightmare. My husband has stage 4 cancer. He can't sleep. This is no way for him to meet his end. We pay our taxes. We're good, law-abiding citizens, and we just hope that you can help us. Please, please help us. If there's any way you can help us, please hear us, and please help us. And I appreciate you listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
David Byrne, is it?
I should have printed, I'm sorry. David Bird, 23 Perkins Avenue in Narragansett. I had just, I know it's not appropriate to ask questions, but I do have a question that I brought quite a bit of material about an issue which seems to be, we're in a residential area, they're in a business area. After 10 o'clock, it's 75 decibels for them, it's 55 for us. Our ordinance reads that the receiving area, it's that rate, and there seems to be confusion. If you were saying earlier that no, the noise to come to us has to be a maximum of 55 from the business district, which is Congdon and Boone, at the point of the of Boone Street Market entering Congdon from the side. I was just asking, is it 55? They come to my yard, they go to the corner of Boone and Congdon, they're outside the business district. Are they measuring 55 or are they measuring 75 before they're cited?
I'll have to check with that. The one that I just reported back on from the police department, that was below the 55, the one I mentioned.
Okay.
But I will, before I speak and say what they
No,
do.
I understand completely.
I can get
just-
back to you. I'll get your number when I.
Right, I just didn't want to bring a document forward and have that document be, well, no, we just talked about that, David, it's 55. So I'll pass out the document, it's what I won't speak on first. But I would like to see if we can get through it. I asked at the time for my question to be removed from my time. In answering the question we read about in the paper from Mr. Tierney, it is not better. Thursday was the worst night. I called myself. An officer came. There is some confusion about that. Is it 75? Is it 55? But if it's 55 at my house, which it was previously a couple weeks ago, it is definitely over 55. 55 is the maximum. If it was directly 55, if I was standing in front of the Boone Street Market, any person can bring a noise complaint, any officer, building codes. I should be able to be walking down the street and say, that's too noisy, as an officer could or anyone else. So that's my issue. Here we go with this, though. We're supposed to be judging this on impact on traffic or impact on parking tickets, safety and warning citations, data on reduction of home value. Johanna mentioned that she believes her value is down. We had another person mention that, in fact, they're trying to rent or sell, and they can do neither from Congdon. It's too noisy. No one will rent, and they cannot sell. One of the things that we find that is such a discrepancy is what was said about what they would be doing and what they're doing. For instance, 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock, 7 days a week, not going to be a college haven, but rather a food establishment to accommodate late shift population, census, police, fire personnel. Many of the applicants are known as friends. Direct quote from the zoning board meeting.
It's the 3 minutes. Everyone gets 3 minutes. I know you had asked for the question, but
It
that's
was
part of
because
it.
I asked the question
Yeah.
to save us time, but I can come next time or save it. The bottom line is they said something in this document in your minutes. Entertainment license was told to 11 o'clock, 2 meetings later in May, it's made back to 1. These types of things are just not right.
Thank you.
Simone Nunes Duffy?
My name is Simone Nunes-Duby, Nunes-DUBY. I'm at 47 South Pier Road. I don't hear that much of the noise, however, the traffic. So there is a lot more than noise which came with this new adventure. And I understand that they wanted to do something like Vanoy Hall, but Vanoy Hall is in an industrial area. There was no people living there. Whereas here, it's in the middle of people. So I would like to talk to the owners and just give them a suggestion, because they suggested as improvement to make a pergola or something. That's not going to take care of the problem. So maybe they should reconsider the whole concept. They should think in terms, I mean, first I want to congratulate them for what they did with the building, because this is beautiful, what they did in terms of upgrading it and renovating the place. It's beautiful to have that here. Then I want to tell them there are other restaurants in town. They're all gold mines, literally. They can make all their money if they make something similar. I was looking forward when I saw them renovating that they would make a nice place, and we could go there and enjoy it. It would be a nice restaurant. They should reconsider the whole concept, because a pergola is not going to take care of the thing. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you.
Robert Mongillo.
Robert Mongillo here. I own a commercial building right in the middle of Perkins Avenue.
Can you just state your address as well?
Oh,
Name,
24
address.
Perkins.
Okay.
Okay. I own a commercial building right in the middle of the residential area, and it has to do with rents, apartment building. Okay, and I got to tell you, you know, if this keeps up, it may affect whom I'm going to be renting to. And I don't rent to college kids now, but if that's going to be my target, that's what I'm going to have to do. And that's going to be bad. You know, I respect my neighbors, and I try to do what's right. I never get a complaint, but I tell you, other commercial people, this person who owns this place, whoever it is, I don't know who it is, does not respect the neighborhood, all right? It's a zoo. That's what it is, okay? So that's all I wanted to say. So if you want a neighborhood going down quick, this is the best way to do it with college kids.
Is it Mao? Is it a Mao? M-A-U, it looks like, Perkins Avenue?
Mary.
It works for me.
I'm Mary Bird, and I live at 23 Perkins Avenue, and I've lived on Perkins Avenue for over 35 years, and I just want to say that I support the testimony of my neighbors. We have not experienced any improvement in the noise level, the congestion, the traffic, the rubbish being strewn around since we last addressed this town council a couple weeks ago, and since Mr. Tierney met with the owners. And nor have we been invited to a meeting with Mr. Tierney and the owners either, to be able to, you know, address our concerns more directly. So thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Karen Shabshelowitz.
Karen Shepsholowitz, 63 Wanda Street. I want to say I moved to this town in 1987. 5 of my kids graduated from the high school. I think the town has remained stuck in very political ways about the way things are done here. Since Jill cuts me off and ever right at 3 minutes, I want to say one thing. I'm on the library board, but I'm only speaking for myself. I've been on the library board for 9 years. It's taking me off October 1st. I hope they don't put some political appointee on there who doesn't really like libraries, because there are people that apply for the board who aren't into libraries or into politics. I would like to address the fact that the no smoking in Narragansett is not addressed. There are no signs posted. People are sitting in front of the community center smoking. In fact, the community center bus driver brings one particular person over to get his tobacco nearly weekly. My granddaughter, who's a senior at Duke, was 10. She wrote a letter to the Narragansett Times talking about smoking on the beach because her father and brother are asthmatic. I'm asthmatic. That was during Callahan's administration. We got no smoking on the beach then, but then what the question was, how is it going to be enforced? Well, now I'm very proud to say, now that she's 22, they're making announcements, absolutely no smoking on the beach, which I attribute to Sophie writing that letter when she was 10. I'd also like to address how the library is being used, even by South County Hospital, as a community meeting place. People love the library. So those of you that ran against the library, I hope you never win. I hope you don't run again, or I hope you drop out. Back to the library name. I think it should be called the Narragansett Library, not after any political person, which there was some politics involved the way it was named before. I wasn't on the board then. I was working in the evening as a nurse. I was the one that was on the Peer School Formation Committee. I was one of two parents, Eric Making and myself. And when they came to a name, I suggested the Peer School, which everyone seemed to like, and that's how the Peer School got its name. I've never applied for a job in town.
Thank you, Ms.
Never asked
Shevchelowitz.
for anything. Yeah, I know.
Thank
But
you.
you've got the power now, but I sure hope
It's
they
3
take
minutes.
it
I'm
away from
respecting
you,
it.
'cause
So
you're not
thank you, Ms.
interested in what the
Shevchelowitz. Thank
community
you.
thinks.
Thank you.
And I hope the next board is
Thank you.
all across the board very interested in what the community thinks. And
Thank
even
you.
though you have a sergeant at arms, Jill,
And
That's
he
what
should
you
come up
wanna-
and help you off. Thank you, ma'am.
Next, is there any other one?
No.
Okay, is there anyone that wishes to speak? Okay, Mr. Mannix?
Good evening, Madam Chair. I want to address the footage that we saw.
Just state your name and address.
Chris Mannix of Rustic Trail. I want to address the footage that we saw this evening. My home is about 4,000 feet away from Leonard Bodwell. My mother's home is about 3,000 feet away. My cousin's home is about 3,200 feet away, and my grandmother's cousin's home is about 2,800 feet away. This literally happened in our backyard. We're very, very concerned about how we got here, but we're very grateful to the police force that they relied on their professional training and de-escalated a very explosive situation. Many of us in the neighborhood are asking ourselves what could have happened if the student had obtained the weapon. So number one, I want to thank on behalf of the entire community, the police officers that responded and very professionally and appropriately handled the situation. But number two, as we do approach November, I think it's very important that we elect people that know that what we see on that video is totally unacceptable and has no place in our backyards and no place in our neighborhoods. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll have one more question, member of the public can speak. We have to start with the public hearing, so Mr. Schofield. And we can continue the open forum public comment after our public hearing, if anyone else wishes to speak.
Harry Schofield, 9 Atlantic. You know, I'm sure everyone here tonight is disgusted by the video that Jim Tierney showed. But as someone who's been here nearly 50 years, it's not the first time things like that have happened. They used to happen more frequently. And it's not the first time police officers have been caught up in these type of duels. But it highlights the reason why residents have been so strong in pushing for the zoning ordinance we have and the short-term rental ordinance we have, all of which have been attacked by the landlord group. And I'd like to say that the 3 members of this town council who are running for re-election are largely responsible for the progress we've made. I want to include, Deb Kopak in some of that too, because she's been there, but she's not running again. But the 3 of you who are running again have been maligned by landlord groups and people misrepresenting themselves but supporting landlord groups, okay? And just this issue on Boone Street is an indication when you've been accused in social media of being anti-business. Here you go the distance for a business thinking you're going to help people, and look what they did to you. So you're not anti-business. Now you got to clamp down on this business who took advantage of you. So I hope everyone in earshot of this, who watches this on YouTube and is here tonight or can hear this, recognize that the 3 of you who are rerunning, often labeled as the TC3, deserve to be reelected this time at the top of the ticket with the most votes because you've devoted yourselves to it. You've all suffered personal consequences from it, and you absolutely are the most resident-friendly town council this town has had in decades. And so we and I will do all I can to support your re-election. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we need to move to our public hearing portion of the meeting. It is 7:30 on the dot. So I have a motion to open and hold a public hearing on an ordinance, an amendment of Appendix A of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Narragansett, Rhode Island, entitled Zoning, specifically text revisions of Section 2.2 definitions, amending the definition of bed and breakfast, guest house, and Section 6.1 use regulations.
So moved. Second.
Okay. This is coming from our solicitor. Mr. Davis, would you like to just...
Good evening. This is predominantly a cleanup matter. It's to move the definition from a footnote in the zoning section into the definition where it belongs, and to make it consistent with what other ordinances that make reference to bed and breakfasts. It's pretty straightforward. Very little moving pieces to this one. That's about it.
Any questions from the council? No. Anyone from the public? No, yeah.
Just one comment. I know in the old use, it said owner must reside on premise or owner occupied. Now, according to the planning board, it was taken out for redundancy, I guess, because it's in the ordinance. But, sometimes when, the clearer we can make these ordinances at specific points, because people may go online and look at these ordinances, so sometimes redundancy isn't always the worst thing, because, when we worked on the short-term rental ordinance, I know the town hall got questions about, how do we do this, how do we do that? So, the clearer we can make it, even in our zoning ordinances, some people still will go to the sheet and look at it and says, well, okay, maybe I can rent a rooms or bed, and all I need is a license required, and they don't go further and look at the actual ordinance itself. So, I don't know. I don't see why it would hurt to have just owner occupied, unless that's gonna, unless it's really not needed. So I don't know where the genesis of that comes from. Was it?
Well, that was a recommendation from community development, zoning, planning. It's typically not footnoted. Those types of things are not footnoted in the Appendix A section. This time it had been because the definition was lacking. So it is not a typical thing to have in that footnote in the zoning section. So I think it's completely appropriate to strike it and put it where it belongs in the definition.
Okay, I just wanted to clear that up. Thank you.
I just had Mr. Holland put up the changes, so as you can see, it's not really, it's just a couple edits to that document, and so that's really all it is. Anyone from the public? No, seeing none. So this is a motion to open and hold, so do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Lastly, we have a motion to receive and place on file the planning board recommendations.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Made it easy for you, so that was a quick one. So thank you. Thank you. All right, so does anyone else wish to speak for open forum public comment before we move on to the meeting? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll move.
I'd like to speak if it's possible. To
Yeah,
open
sure.
forum as a citizen. Thank you. After witnessing that, it actually brought back some bad memories, because I haven't seen anything as bad as that till we had the riot in Eastwood Look, which I think it was 2014 or 2015. And this was a little different then. It was building during the day. It was Cinco de Mayo. Several years before that, they had burned a couch in the road. They had burned bushes. So it started hooping up about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. By 5 o'clock, the police had to just withdraw from the area. And make no mistake about it, the police are our first line of defense, and they're really doing the job to keep this. But, you know, the issue is with the students, it's not that it's all the students, we get that, but, you know, URI has to stop dumping their students on this town, and they have to start building dorms immediately, so we don't have to house 6,000 to 8,000 of our students, which is extremely hurting our affordable housing issue, especially when they're just filling up with more students now. I mean, the landlord group went to the 2100 group, went to the State House and adjusted the unrelated up to 5. You know, that would have been fine if they would have suggested maybe could be for full-time residents or it could be for full-time rentals for the year, but this is just going to fill the houses up again. So, you know, even in the Crane report, it mentioned, you know, there's a symbiotic relationship between the landlord groups and URI URI doesn't have to build more dorms because they're filled up in our town. So, you know, I just wish URI would get the point. Maybe we can, you know, maybe we can reach out, but they just need to build dormitories. That's what they need. They need to build more dormitories on their campus so they can house more of their students on their campus. We'll have some of these houses become available for, you know, elderly, for some affordable housing, for some families that may want to move down here, but they don't have a chance. When they go to a house, it's so investor-driven, there's 10 people wanting to buy the property, and no families because they can't afford it. They get outbid by the investors, and then it's on and on and on. And the realtors just keep selling the houses. The people get sick of it. So I just hope this is a wake-up call to URI, and I hope that they're able to give the maximum enforcement penalties they can. And, you know, that's all we need. I mean, there's a lot of other things they could be doing, but that's the main thing, to just build more housing. I know it's going to take time, but I've looked into it. Most of the housing doesn't come from bonds. It doesn't come from the voter bonds. It comes from infrastructure bonds and revenue bonds. So they, you know, get with the revenue banks and different banks, and then what they'll do is they'll pay it back with the room and board and the food for the meal plans. So please, if you're listening, URI, please do something. Get it on your board meeting next time to build some more dormitories. Get it in the pipeline. It would help our town immensely. Thank you, Eva.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, so we'll be moving on to new business. First on new business from the Parks and Recreation Department, we have a motion to approve the one-year contract extension as is a component of the original town council awarded contract for rubbish removal for the beach with Joe Harvey Landscaping at their year 2 pricing of $65,000 under the same terms and conditions as the original contract.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopech. Motion passes 5-0. Next, from the Public Works Department, we have a motion to approve the use of the miscellaneous repair and construction services contract with George Sherman Sand and Gravel Company Incorporated to complete drainage improvements to the existing 12-inch storm drain on Bristol Road for $49,000.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopech. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to approve the contract extension for unleaded gasoline, $0.145 increment over OPD, oil price daily, and diesel fuel, $0.145 over OPD, with Santa Buckley Energy for a one-year period ending August 31st, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion from the council?
Wish we'd go to hybrids or electric vehicles, but other than that, no.
Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopech. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to approve the second phase of renovations and upgrades to the second floor of the West Tower space to be completed by Abcor Restoration Company Incorporated in the amount of $26,470, utilizing the General Construction Services Agreement.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, from the Community Development Department, we have a motion to read, pass, and accept as a first reading an ordinance and amendment of Chapter 66 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Narragansett entitled Street, Sidewalks, and Other Public Places, specifically Article 2, entitled Streets, by adding a Division 5 entitled Abandonment of Street and Roadway Rights of Way.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to award the contract for urban renewal zoning ordinance update for community development to the sole responder, Weston and Sampson Engineers Incorporated, in the amount of $31,100.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council?
I have a question on this. Is this, I don't know how many urban renewals, but is this mainly pertain to the pier, the old Gilbane building, if there's anyone from planning?
Yes, that's the urban renewal district, and there's been the ordinances that have popped up over the years. Many of them are conflicting. They will consolidate them all and update them all. This was the municipal technical assistance plan grant that we received through the state.
Yeah, so this was to look at that zoning and update it, or you know, where did the money come from? From the General Assembly?
It was under
Housing?
No, it was part of the housing one. There were two of the grants that we received. This is one of them. The other one was the infrastructure study that's being done, and this one was one
Rhode Island
from.
Commerce Corporation.
Can't get it on here.
I can't.
It was the Rhode Island Commerce
Commerce.
Corporation.
Yeah, thank you. It was the Commerce one, and it's been. We're just getting ready. When they say award it, we can get them rolling.
So they'll be having public hearings on this, so the public can come in and see what they're gonna look at? Are they just gonna recommend?
They won't be changing our existing, what they're doing. Over the years, some of these have been put on the books, but they're more of like a codification of it, put it all together. And they'll make recommendations, I'm sure, as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to adopt a resolution approving the final draft of the town's hazard mitigation plan entitled Strategy for Reducing Risks from Natural Hazards in Narragansett, Rhode Island, a multi-hazard mitigation strategy.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, from the Finance Department, we have a motion to approve the use of the State of Rhode Island Master Price Agreement, MPA, for the purchase of liquid propane gas with quality propane at the price of the BPM Selkirk posting plus 0.246 per gallon for the period of September 2024 through September 30, 2025, with an optional one-year renewal.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, from Human Resources Department, we have a motion to introduce, read, pass, and adopt as a second reading the amendment of Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Narragansett, Rhode Island, entitled Administration, specifically Article 2, Town Council, Section 2-21, entitled Salary Insurance.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, from the town solicitor, we have a motion to introduce, read, pass, and accept as a first reading an ordinance and amendment of Appendix A of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Narragansett, Rhode Island, entitled Zoning, specifically text revisions of Section 2.2, definitions, amending the definition of bed and breakfast, guest house, in Section 6.1 use regulations.
So moved.
Second?
As we just had this, the public hearing on this, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Next, from the town manager, we have a motion to approve the appointment of Sarah Masson as a town clerk and the filling of any subsequent vacancies that arise from the filling of this position.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Tierney?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Sarah's been with us since 2014 now, and unfortunately, she was, on her part, she was whisked into this role to take over during Janet's absence, and she's been tasked with a tremendous amount, and she's done a wonderful job stepping up and handling the job. And as you know, we made her the acting town clerk during Janet's absence, and Janet has now announced her retirement. And this is a wonderful opportunity for Sarah and for the town. She's a great employee. She's done a great job as the deputy clerk and now as the town clerk, and we'd like to see her stay in that role.
Thank you. Any discussion from the council? Sorry. Anyone from the public? Okay, thanks, Sarah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0.
Congrats, Sarah.
Congrats, yeah.
Congratulations, yep.
Next, we had an executive session scheduled. We're pulling that because it is no longer needed. So lastly, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Do we have the room boarding house?
Yeah.
Town
I'm
clerk
sorry.
motion.
L1.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have for the town clerk, we have a motion to read, pass, and accept as a first reading an ordinance and amendment to Chapter 14, Article 14 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Narragansett, Rhode Island, entitled Rooming Houses or Boarding Houses.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council?
One question, was this one passed with owner-occupied only, like it said it was suggested to be? Does the final ordinance say that?
The owner-occupied is in the definition in the zoning ordinance. That's where the bed and breakfast definition is located. So yes, if they get a bed and breakfast license, it would have to be owner-occupied.
And that's what we're talking about here?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, for 4 roomers or less.
Yeah, it just said it just was reading
It's already there.
with the potential addition of the words owner-occupied that would be proposed, so that is on there.
Now that you just approved that zoning change definition, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any discussion from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 5-0. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor